Do you feel like your company is spying on you or monitoring your activity while you're on your computer? In this video, we're going to talk about what are the signs that you are being monitored. Let's go. If you've got the sneaking suspicion that your company or your IT department is monitoring your computer, you might be right. A lot of organizations in the past couple of years have actually started investing more in employee tracking and understanding what employees are doing when they're working from home. So I want to break this video up into 3 sections. First, I want to talk about what are the signs that you're being monitored. Second, I want to talk about is it legal? And third, I want to talk about what can you do if you feel like you're being monitored. The first sign that you're being monitored, you've noticed unfamiliar applications or softwares. Now, it's not uncommon for IT to install multiple different types of softwares on your computer to help with efficiencies or connectivity when it comes to VPNs. But if you're noticing that there's a lot of programs running in the background, that's a really big sign that your company might be monitoring your activity, especially if that software or application is using up a lot of battery and resources in your computer. Some common applications to look out for are brands like SpectreSoft, Veriato, and Terramind. Those are all examples of trackers that companies can install on your laptop to be able to track your activity. The second thing is unexplained network activity. If you've noticed that your computer is having high uploads and high download rates when you're not really using the internet that much, that might be a sign that your company is actively tracking or monitoring what you're doing on your computer. This type of network activity can happen with things like keyloggers to keep track of how much you're using your computer or what type of things you're typing in. The third sign that you're being monitored is pretty obvious: monitoring notifications. Some platforms will actually tell you that they're monitoring your activity, or they'll send you a report and say, this is what you've done this week. If you're getting those type of emails from your organization or from different softwares, that's a really big sign that you might be getting monitored at work. The fourth sign that you're being monitored is random or unexpected pop-up windows. Means that an application is running in the background that's able to override what you're doing and send you a pop-up whether you're wanting it or not. If you're seeing messages or notes from unknown sources, that might be an indicator that you're being monitored at work. And number 5 is decreased performance. If you've seen that your computer over time has really started to do a decrease or a drop-off from when you originally had it, it might be a sign that you're being monitored. There's other reasons why that might happen, but if you've seen that you have this decrease in performance in addition to the other signs that we've talked about, it's a really good sign that you're being monitored. Okay, so let's talk about, is this legal? The legalities of monitoring employees varies country to country. So it's different in Australia, it's different in Europe, and it's different in the United States and Canada. In many cases, it is actually legal for your employer to track what you are doing on your company computer, not your personal computer. But if you're using your company computer, oftentimes it is legal for an organization to track what you're doing on that device. Although some countries do actually require the organization to tell you that you're being monitored, it's not necessarily a requirement. So if you're starting to feel like you're being monitored, I would check with your local area and see what the rules and regulations are for employee tracking. Okay, so the last thing is, what can you do about it? I have 4 different things that you can do if you feel like you're being monitored at work. The first is to check with your employer. Now, sometimes you may or may not want to ask them directly, but you could check with if you have a friend in IT, if you have a friend in human resources who you can trust, you can just straight out ask them, does the company track people's computers? Sometimes they'll say no, or sometimes they'll say they don't know, but if you ask them flat out and they say, yeah, they're tracking everything you're doing, there's your answer. I would not personally send out an email to somebody asking them if they track your activity. I would make it more of a conversation or a phone call, something that isn't going to be as easily monitored if you have that fear that your company is monitoring you. The second thing you can do is run a virus sweep to detect malware or softwares that are using a lot of power. By running a virus scan, you're able to see what softwares and applications are being used most within your computer, and then they can figure out which of those are actual applications that you recognize that you use all the time. So for example, Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel versus applications that you're not familiar with that are using a lot of power. The third thing that you can do is use a VPN. Now, a VPN sets kind of a firewall between your system and the system that your company uses, and oftentimes encrypts things so that it's kept within the network that you're using. Some organizations require you to use their VPN, so you have to connect your computer to the organization's VPN. But if you have your own VPN that you're able to use and encrypt your activity, it makes it a lot harder for an organization to track what softwares or things that you're doing on your computer if you're, let's say, watching YouTube or something like that. And number 4 is change your passwords and make sure that you don't give your passwords or login credentials to anybody. Sometimes, not always, changing your passwords and securing your devices helps with preventing tracking. Depends on if you have softwares or applications embedded in your computer, but if you're able to change your password and make sure that you restart your computer or reset your computer, sometimes that helps prevent monitoring softwares from tracking every single thing that you're doing. So let me know in the comments, do you feel like your company is violating your privacy? I'd love to hear in the comments below what your thoughts are on monitoring employees. And if this video was helpful, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. And with that, I'll see you on the next one.